It's another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the films of July 25th, 1997. We only got 4 movies to look at today, so let's go ahead and jump on into it. We'll start off with, of course, the biggest new release of the weekend, and that is Harrison Ford in the action thriller from Wolfgang Peterson, Air Force One.
Tonight, CNN has learned of a crisis involving the President of the United States. Intelligence has reported that Air Force One...
Administration sources are denying these reports.
The President and the First Family were scheduled to depart Moscow earlier this week. We will keep you informed of developments as they happen.
The Vice President has scheduled a press conference for later this evening.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have a statement. The President's plane, Air Force One, has been hijacked.
Scenarios. There are no airborne scenarios.
How the hell did this happen? How the hell did they get Air Force One?
You know who I am? I'm the President of the United States. The United States does not negotiate with terrorists.
No! No! Leave her! No! Leave her!
You just leave my family alone.
The President is up there with a gun to his head.
Which one lives? I love you. I love you.
I would like to ask all Americans to pray for the safety of everyone on board Air Force One.
Interesting how over the course of 1 year, Glenn Close went from being the First Lady in Mars Attacks to the Vice President in Air Force One. I should probably tell you something there, but I don't, or maybe not. Maybe it's just a pure coincidence that happened. But what am I even talking about here? Air Force One. This is Wolfgang Peterson's Die Hard on a plane action thriller, which is really is Die Hard on a plane. I mean, it's a group of terrorists. But this time they're hijacking the president's airplane, Air Force One, and the president basically has to rescue everybody on board by retaking over his plane. And yeah, it's very much like Die Hard. It is very much a Die Hard ripoff, but at the same time, it's Harrison Ford, man. I mean, Harrison Ford is a likable, charismatic actor. I mean, some might even consider this to be kind of the expansion of his character from the Jack Ryan movies and Patriot Games from the Patriot Games to Clear and Present Danger to this, which is pretty much kind of, some people have said it's kind of, some people have basically said it kind of has an area where it could be placed in the same universe as this, but it's still a really fun movie. I think it's a really solid film. Harrison Ford does what he does best in here. He plays a great action hero in this. I mean, Gary Oldman's a really good villain here. The cast overall is very good here. Glenn Close is great as the Vice President. Wendy Crewson. William H. Macy, Dean Stockwell's in here, Jürgen Prochnow, just a really solid cast overall in this film. And it is pretty interesting to make the President of the United States an action star. Like, it's a fun concept to work with, especially with a guy like Harrison Ford at the helm of it. And what's funny is that Bill Clinton, who was president at the time, saw the film twice and gave it good reviews, and he noted that certain elements of the film's version of Air Force One, such as the escape pod and the rear parachute ramp, are not actually on the plane. But then again, that's the features on the plane are highly classified and need to know, so those features probably wouldn't have been able to get to the writers out there. But Wolfgang Peterson did say that although the real plane did not have those features at the time of filming, they probably would have been added by the time future governments came in, which, honestly, we'll never really know, honestly. But the movie itself is really damn good. I mean, it's Harrison Ford doing what Harrison Ford does best. He has one of the great closing lines in action movie history, telling Gary Oldman to get off of his plane. I mean, it's an incredible, incredible film. Also of note of this is that Randy Newman was actually going to do the score for this originally, but Wolfgang Peterson said he thought his composition would be too close to being a parody, so they brought in Jerry Goldsmith to rewrite the music in just 12 days, and needless to say, that's probably the right call, because if Randy Newman did the score for this, this would have been a very, very interesting it would have made needless to say, it probably would have made the film a lot more funnier than it needed to be. So I think that was the right call on their part. As far as the film itself goes, yeah, like I said, it's a fun ride. It's a fun action thriller. It is basically a Die Hard clone, but at the same time, it's a good, fun Die Hard clone. In fact, they had a pretty good time making the president do these crazy things in these movies. Of course, the president was the hero in Independence Day. He was a murderer in Absolute Power. He was part of a coup and murdered 1600. And now he's the John McClane-esque action hero in Air Force One. Not even that. I mean, but like I said, some people may look at this and say, it's not entirely out of the realm of possibility this could have taken place in the Jack Ryan universe that Patriot Games and Clear and Present Danger are in, but that's a fun little thing to play around with here. But like I said, the movie is a lot of fun. I don't think I really need to say too much more about it. If you haven't seen it already, you're doing yourself a major, major disservice by not doing so, because it is a fun action movie. It's Harrison Ford doing what Harrison Ford does best. It's Wolfgang Peterson doing what he does best. And honestly, I would say this is probably the last great film he directed, because after this, he did stuff like The Perfect Storm and Troy and Poseidon. None of them really ended up being that great, except maybe Troy, but certainly not up to par with some of his best early works. But this is probably the last great film I ever saw him direct, honestly. So definitely check it out if you can do that, which you probably can. I mean, you should be able to. It just came out on Blu-ray, for God's sakes, recently, so you should be easily be able to get it. Bottom line, what I'm trying to say here, Air Force One, pretty awesome movie. Definitely check it out. So with that said, let's go ahead and move on to the next movie that we have here, and that is Kenan Thompson and Kel Mitchell in the big screen version of the All That classic comedy sketch, Good Burger.
Hey, Alfalfa, would you please take my order?
Ooh, sorry, no can do. I'm the drive-thru guy. You need the counter guy. Hey, where's Ed?
Morning, girls! This summer, Nickelodeon's hit comedy
Oh, sorry.
hits the big screen. Welcome to Good Burger, home of the Good Burger. Can I take your order? Good Burger. Starring Nickelodeon's biggest stars, Kenan and Kel. And one thinks he's all that. You have messed up my afro. Why? The other isn't all there. They're the hard-working crew of Good Burger. Just give me a good shake. Really? But now,
Mondo Burger's going to be the biggest burger chain on this planet.
the competition is out to swallow them up.
You guys are grass.
Dad, you need a Tic Tac.
Get him!
And they're putting their buns on the line.
This is what I call fast food. Hey, come back here! You're messing with the wrong fella now.
In the battle of the burgers.
Your turn.
You're not like other people, are you?
Paramount Pictures, in association with Nickelodeon Movies, present Kenan and Kel.
Could you kindly point us in the direction of the little girl's room? Better watch your butt, man. Okay.
In the family comedy with everything on it.
Why? I give up. There is no way a guy can watch his own butt.
Good Burger.
Y'all ready for this? Can I take your order?
I suppose if Saturday Night Live can turn many of their famous recurring sketches into featured films, I guess All That could do the same thing. But I mean, other than Good Burger, what other popular sketches from All That could they really make a movie out of? I mean, I know they have other segments that we've seen a lot during the heyday of All That, but honestly, I can't really think of any right off the bat that probably would have made for a movie. So this is probably the only thing they had left to work with here. But I mean, this is pretty much on the level of a typical SNL movie based off of a sketch. There really isn't a whole lot here to expand on with this concept, and because of that, I think the movie kind of stumbles a little bit. With that said, there is some nostalgic enjoyment I take from this, because I did watch this a lot as a kid. As somebody who grew up watching a lot of Nickelodeon as well as All That back at the time of its release. I mean, look at the shirt I'm wearing right now. It's a little Hey Arnold shirt, and I used to watch that a lot when I was growing up. It was nice to go back and watch this again. You know, like with Harriet the Spy, it's not a bad movie. There are redeemable qualities to it. I think Kenan Thompson and Kel Mitchell have that great comic chemistry they usually have to make make their humor work. They had that on All That. They had that on Kenan and Kel. And they do carry the movie, and they have a lot of the film's funnier lines and moments. But other than that, though, Good Burger's a movie that's, I think, more people who grew up with all that and Kenan and Kel would enjoy more than most people would who are just coming to this anew, and I was one of those people, so for me, it's fine for what it is. It's a breezy, fun, over-the-top comedy that doesn't make a whole lot of sense or even really should have been made into a movie, but for what it is, it's a guilty pleasure movie. I put it up there with stuff like Space Jam and Speed 2 Cruise Control as one of my favorite guilty pleasure films. If you've seen all that in Kenan and Kel, you'll really like it for nostalgic sakes, but if you didn't, you're probably better off just avoiding it. And I know at the time I'm recording this, Good Burger 2 is currently in production right now, which I don't know about that one. I mean, I have this thing with comedy sequels where if it takes more than 4 or 5 years after the first movie came out, it's probably not best to do it unless you really have a good script for it, which I think they're just making it for nostalgic sake. I mean, it's a Good Burger. It has a huge cult following, and Kenan and Kel are still very popular, so it wouldn't be surprising if this is being made for nostalgic sake. So who knows? It could actually be good, but we'll see how that transpires. But like I said, Good Burger's a good, fun, guilty pleasure. But if you've never seen all that, you've never seen Kenan and Kel, it's probably best to skip it. So with that said, on to the next film, and that is Star Maps.
Ready to take the ride of your life. Star Maps, the film the New York Times calls a California midnight cowboy.
Show me how much you want it.
Striking and sexy, says Newsweek.
I'm an actor. This is what I like to do. Get back to your corner, and that's it.
You're dead. The most controversial film of the year.
Maybe you do belong in front of the camera.
Star Maps.
So this is a story that takes place between the gap that exists between East and West Los Angeles as Latino kids trying to pursue the American dream. After 5 years of living in Mexico, this 18-year-old youth returns to LA with aspirations of becoming a movie star, and at the urging of his father, a pimp who sells maps to stars' homes as a cover, the young man turns to hustling as a way to meet Hollywood insiders, and things start to look up when he hooks up with the producers of this popular daytime soap opera. However, its overbearing father and mentally unstable mother, his father and his mother, threaten to get in the way of his dreams, and this is directed by Miguel Artero. This is actually the first movie he ever directed. He'd later go on to direct stuff like Chuck and Buck, The Good Girl, Youth in Revolt, Cedar Rapids, and he directs some pretty bad movies. Alexander the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day, as well as Like a Boss, both of which were on my top 10 list for the worst movies of those years that they came out. I've actually never seen this movie. I've never heard of it, honestly, and I really didn't know that he was that same director did this. That same director that made those movies did this film. So really, I don't know if it's any good or not, but it definitely looks like it could be pretty promising. I mean, it looks like a film that could be very well done. Plus, this director, this is still when he was making some pretty solid films at the beginning of his career. So I wouldn't be surprised if this was actually more fun than it actually has any right to be. But I don't know. I'm definitely curious to check it out one day. Maybe I will. But that's pretty much all I know about Star Maps. Let's go ahead and move on to the last movie we have here, and that is The Winner.
Baby, I'm gonna give you the lights of Las Vegas.
Phil was an ordinary guy with an extraordinary gift for making money.
He's been on a winning streak for 5 weeks, and he hasn't lost once.
I love this guy. I think it's a damn lucky.
Now,
A lot of people want your lover boy to lose.
He is not gonna lose.
the girl wants to marry him.
We're in this together.
Why do you only play on the Sundays?
The mob wants to kill him.
Why owe some people a lot of money?
$500 million.
And his brother just wants a piece of the pie.
Why did you come? I came with Dad.
Directed by Alex Cox, who gave us Repo Man as well as Sid and Nancy back in the 1980s. This is basically a story about a man who can't seem to do anything but win at the tables in Las Vegas, which of course brings hustlers out of the woodwork intent on using him for financial gain. One of them is the man's brother, played by Michael Madsen, who incidentally is trying to find who it was that killed their father, while still another is a woman, played by Rebecca De Mornay, who has schemes of her own. Couple all this with drug kingpins, general thugs, and you have a comedy about a fresh twist on surviving in Vegas, which, I don't know, to me it sounds like kind of a one-note premise, honestly. This guy just keeps winning, and then all of a sudden all these people come out of nowhere to try to scam off of him or something. I don't see anything that would have made this an interesting concept whatsoever. This is actually based on a play written by the writer of this, Wendy Risk, called A Darker Purpose, but it's got a good cast to it. Rebecca De Mornay, Vincent D'Onofrio, Delroy Lindo, Michael Madsen, Billy Bob Thornton, Frank Whaley. there's a good enough cast in here that could probably make this work, but at the same time, I don't really think it does, especially when you consider that Alex Cox wanted his name off of this. That's probably not a good sign that he wanted his name to be attached to this, and probably not a good sign that this movie's going to be any good either. So, I don't know. I don't think this is going to be any good, but that cast does have some promise to it, but I'm not really getting my hopes up if I ever want to see this one day. That's the winner. That's going to do it for this edition of Time About the Movies. When we meet next time, we'll look at the first weekend of August 97 with 5 films, including the infamous Spawn with Michael Jai White and John Leguizamo in the cast, Jennifer Anderson in the comedy Picture Perfect, the movie where the rules say a dog can't play basketball, and yet this movie tries to prove us wrong on that, Air Bud, Samuel L. Jackson in 187, and In the Company of Men. So we will look at those 5 movies next time around. With that said, thank you very much for watching, and if you want to see more videos like this, please hit the playlist on the next page, check out the previous episode, and also don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this. With that said, I will see you guys tomorrow for another episode, so until then, take care.